Ladies and gentlemen, good Wednesday evening and welcome to another episode of Inside the Helmet. Thank you for joining us. My name is Michael. I'm here with my dad.
Happy Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. And we've got a few things to talk about today, so let's get rolling. One topic we wanted to open with is how in professional sports, just sports in general, you obviously have your different levels of expertise, even among the ranks. Even take obviously you have your professionals, you have college and other amateurs and high school and youth, but even within those individual ranks, you have your MVPs of the league versus the backups and bench warmers, stuff like that. And one thing that when I'm watching these athletes perform and do the thing that they've trained their whole life to do, what exactly separates, because every NFL player is an exceptionally good football player. That goes without saying. Brian Scalabrine, a very famously scrub NBA player,
Hmm.
is so much better at basketball than you or I will ever be.
Right.
So, one thing I think that separates them, and this goes, for the best college players making it to the professionals where they maybe aren't such the dominant force against other professionals, but it's obviously the most true for those who rise to the absolute top of the top. Your MVP winners, your champions, stuff like that, your record holders, and they see the game differently. They just experience the sport in a way that gives them the time to mentally process everything. Their brain works so much faster. They say this in boxing, and they say this in relation to car accidents. They say that in the moment time slows down.
Yes.
It's almost like you experience things in slow motion. You're able to think at such a rapid rate and process everything due to the high level of adrenaline and such that's going on. I believe that these absolute upper of the upper echelon of athletes have that innately within them almost at all times, that allows them to process the game the way they do, make decisions as well as they can, and ultimately succeed where others around them would not do so. An example, because I'm not a professional athlete, I never will be in all likelihood, so I cannot speak quite to this same example, but I want to invite the audience to imagine that you are, assuming you're reasonably athletic and have been around sports for much of your life. I mean, if you're watching this show, then I assume you're interested in sports and have some history playing sports. I want you to imagine that you, at your reasonably fully grown age, are playing a flag football game against a bunch of second graders. Okay? You are so much more developed mentally, physically, everything than the second graders. And so you are going to have more time to process everything because you have such a deeper understanding of what is going on than those around you. And what makes these elite athletes so special is that they're able to do this against opponents who are their physical contemporaries. They are physically comparable and all that. They are also other professional athletes, not second graders.
Right.
So that's
You you
one thing
mentioned the
that really
word you
set.
mentioned the word adrenaline, and
Mhm.
it made me kind of pause and wonder if maybe somehow um, adrenaline. Maybe some people get actual adrenaline, not just pumping through their veins, but somehow into their brain. something that when they get the adrenaline rush, it's not just their muscles that are responding, but something that speeds up the brain. I think you and I have played enough sports in our lifetimes that we have had moments where exactly what you're talking about, your opponent doesn't have your experience. And so you can kind of almost toy with them, right? A little bit. And we've
Yeah,
experienced the other side too, unfortunately, where we were up against somebody who was just going to destroy us. Uh, but yeah, the mental component, the processing, the decision making, especially in a sport like football, but really it pertains to all sports. Seconds matter.
they
They
do.
they talk about football being a game of inches, but it's also a game of seconds and microseconds, and sometimes even you hesitate just that one heartbeat, and the play comes out entirely differently.
It
So
absolutely does. Yeah.
yeah, and then there's this other component that I just don't know how you even define it, but you know it when you see it. That there are some people. I'm thinking about two guys currently in the NFL who fit
Okay.
your description of being, elite of the elite as far as what they see and what their physical capabilities are, and yet they haven't won championships.
Hmm.
And I'm not trying to pick on anybody because these guys are fantastic, but Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen,
Yeah.
both of them
Hmm.
are elite, Hall of Fame caliber type quarterbacks, and yet year after year after year they get in the playoffs and they can't win, and at least they can't get to the Super Bowl. And then you look
Hmm.
at somebody like Eli Manning, who was not physically gifted the way those guys are.
Hmm.
I'm sure, having grown up in the Manning family and everything, his brain was operating on a pretty high level, and he had enough skill. But
Certainly.
he's got two Super Bowl rings,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, when it comes to things like that, that's when it's also, of course, important to remember that football is the ultimate team sport.
Sure.
No matter how talented and physically gifted or even mentally proficient any one player, even if they are a quarterback, may be, that doesn't negate the importance or override the deficiency if it that is what is prevalent um, amongst their
Yeah.
teammates
Well,
if they're not able to carry their load.
there's Hall of Famers. Just start naming uh, in football: O.J. Simpson, Barry
Mhm.
Sanders, Dick Butkus, Gale Sayers. Who had none or one playoff win.
Hmm.
And they're all first ballot Hall of Famers. And yeah, I did
Yeah.
throw out O.J. Simpson. I know it's not popular because of what happened later, but having watched him as a kid when he was just
If
a
you
great
turn the TV off
football
after he
player.
retired, then
Yeah, I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and they said, what players did you have posters of on your wall when you were a kid?" And I said,
hmm
"Well, first of all, understand, we would go up to the local Target or Walmart or something, ride our bicycles up, and limited to what posters they had. You couldn't go on the internet; there was no internet, and
hmm
order up a poster. So a person really had to be popular to have a poster out. But I remember two football players I had posters of on my wall, um, one of which was O.J. Simpson,
I
and
recall.
the other is our favorite number 12 who had the star on his helmet. And
Hmm.
if you don't know who I'm talking about, then shame on you. So, um, but no, there's something with the winner gene. I was talking to you before the show about happened to catch the last third of the World Cup today, which I first time ever kind of watched and got into. And I think they pronounce it Lionel, not Lionel, but Lionel Messi, who is the Michael Jordan of soccer, in his last World Cup, trying to get Argentina back to the championship game. They won it 4 years ago. and his team is down 1-0 or something with only minutes to go. And he didn't score any goals, but he's also known as an assist guy. And perfect assist to get the goal that ties it up. And then like 6 minutes later, which is not very long in soccer terms, another great assist. Teammate heads the ball into the back of the net, and they win 2-0. And now they're heading for the championship game. And watching his reaction, and especially watching his teammates' reaction, the announcers were saying, you never believe you're out of it when you have this guy on your team, right? And it flashed back to when I was 10 years old, because they said the exact same thing about Roger Staubach. All of his teammates would always say that when Roger would pull off an improbable win. But it's not just the come from behind stuff, but we always talk about Patrick Mahomes being the modern day GOAT, who's still playing, right?
Yeah.
That you'd take Mahomes over any other quarterback in the league currently.
Mhm.
And what is it about some guys that they are just winners? Because it's not just mentally processing, and it's not just physically, it's that ability when the game is on the line, and some people are not wanting the ball, or they're stressing out, or whatever. These guys can remain cool. Joe Montana was famous for it. There's a whole list of people.
I I think that is an immeasurable quality. Like, you cannot measure that with any physical or mental assessment. That is not something that can be studied. I don't think with any sort of fact or evidence. That it's essentially the like skill and talent equivalent of word of mouth.
Yeah.
I think it's what they call instincts, the it factor, that adrenaline that we were talking about earlier, where something just takes over, and you are no longer simply uh, I don't know. You're no longer simply an athlete. You are an expert. You are a master of this craft going to work.
Yeah. I think there's a desire, there's a competitiveness, there's a many elements that go into making that winner. And even natural born winners, nobody wins every game, but it's the rise to the occasion more often than not, guys in every sport, who just have that ability, that are the ones that I find the most fascinating of all,
Of
because you
course.
think you know their history. And they were talking about with Lionel Messi about, oh, he's done it so many times before, and you're sitting here going, can he do it one more time? And then right there in front of your eyes, he does it again. Pulls a rabbit out of a hat. Some athletes are just magicians like that, and it's amazing to me. I wish I knew how to explain it, but you know it when you see it. So um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. So, all right. Usually, as usual, I should say, our middle segment is dedicated to F1 racing and finding out what's happened since last Wednesday in F1 racing. So, take it
Well,
away.
not a whole lot has happened. There was no Formula One this past weekend. We are going to Belgium, and the longest track on the calendar. So with all this battery deployment stuff and the batteries draining halfway through a regular sized straightaway, uh, it's going to be interesting. The track at Spa, that's the name of it, Spa, named after a nearby town in Belgium. Um, it has 4 straightaway zones, which essentially is where the drivers can push a button that opens up the aerodynamic front and rear wings to allow better airflow to increase the maximum speed. So, I don't know, a lot of people are saying it's going to be a mess because so many cars have been struggling with all this battery deployment nonsense with the new regulations. So, it's a track I like a lot, but I'm just kind of worried that it's going to be kind of a mess and that it's essentially going to be Mercedes and maybe Ferrari up at the front, and it's going to be those four, and then a gap of like 3 minutes, and then everybody else is
Hmm.
kind of my worry. But we'll see.
Okay.
Obviously, I do hope to be proven wrong, but we shall see.
Here's a weird question for you.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if it's a fair question, or maybe you'll go, gee, I never thought about that, and
Okay.
have something interesting. So there's F1 drivers, and then
Mm-hmm.
there's the guys who drive, like at the Indianapolis 500,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, I'm guessing two different skill sets,
They're
but
they're they're different, but I mean they're not they're adjacent. I would
okay.
say.
I always wondered about, because when I
Mm-hmm.
was a kid, the stuff that they showed on Wide World of Sports was the Indianapolis 500, the Daytona 500. You'd
Mm-hmm.
watch guys. It's just like, okay, left turn, left turn, left turn,
Yeah.
going around the big oval, and NASCAR has a big following, and F1 racing has all the snake turns and twists and all that kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff. I just
Yeah.
wanted your take on the different,
Well,
if there's a
every car is obviously so vastly different in how it's built, how much power it has, how much it weighs, all that stuff, the aerodynamics of the car especially. And so if you like an F1 car is said to be the fastest race car in the world, not because it has the most power, not because it has the top speed, not because it reaches 0 to 60 in the shortest amount of time or anything like that, but mostly because of the aerodynamics of the car and how well it is able to go around a conventional racetrack that isn't like an oval or something. Oval racing is something completely different. I've actually seen a video of someone who was a former F1 driver, but now is racing in either NASCAR or IndyCar, something like that, and kind of describing the difference between the two, because of course those guys get asked all the time, like, oh, which one's more difficult and all that.
sure.
But with something like an oval race, at the Indy 500 or Daytona 500, something like that, the corner is so long. It's just one long continuous corner, as
Right.
opposed to the all the short changing directions that you get on the tracks that you would see at like an F1 track. So it's a completely different style of driving that you need. And so I know this isn't exactly the question you asked, but I'm sure it's on your mind or on somebody's mind out there. Generally, the Formula One drivers are the best. They are the cream of the crop. That is like the top league. Obviously, there are some exceptions where I'm sure that the absolute top of the top of IndyCar drivers, NASCAR drivers, and such would be able to make the jump over and learn Formula One and maybe not absolutely dominate, but they'd still be comparable. They'd be able to fit in like they
Sure.
belonged. And similarly, other, kind of middle of the road Formula One drivers have made the jump over to IndyCar, NASCAR, other racing series, and they haven't always gone and dominated. That
Hmm.
they don't just go dominate simply because they're a former Formula One driver.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
there is some discourse on like, oh, Kyle Larson or whoever else could make the jump over to Formula One and win everything. He's the best driver in the world. No, no. Max Verstappen is the best driver in the world. I will die on that hill.
All
But
right. One
yeah,
more F1 question before we get to our competitive round.
okay.
Just popped into my head. I'm picturing, whenever you see the drivers, of course, you see their head, their helmet, their arms, and the
Mm-hmm.
steering wheel. And I don't know why the question just popped into my head. What kind of shoes do they wear? I mean, do
They're
they just
kind of
pop
like
on
a
tennis shoes?
it's like a racing boot. I think I would probably equate it somewhat to like a boxing shoe, where it
Okay.
gives you good ankle support. It's nice and flat on
Yeah.
the bottom so that they can have a good grip on the pedals.
Sure.
So it's not like a tennis shoe or anything. It's yeah. It's
Okay.
a racing boot, I guess.
Nobody does it barefoot. I take it.
No.
All right,
No,
okay.
that would be very silly.
Get pretty bad blisters of all the
Hmm.
pushing on the pedals and the brakes. Okay.
Yeah, and
Um,
God forbid the car catches fire, bye bye feet and only your feet because the helmet and the race suit is fireproof.
oh, nice.
Mm.
Okay. All right. So you want to introduce a new competitive thing this week?
Yeah, so I'm sure because they're so popular that you've seen these blind ranking videos where people
Sure.
will go up to somebody or they'll be on a podcast like this if my phone will unlock and they will present a group of anywhere from 5 to 10 usually names of people or things that are comparable. You can compare them to one another fairly and you present them one at a time and you ask the person to rank it like out of 5 or 10 however many you have without knowing what comes next. And so it's interesting because you're trying to gauge the given name at the present moment based on the potential of what the other names could be. For
Mm-hmm.
example, if we were to say be naming or ranking NFL quarterbacks and I said Patrick Mahomes, you'd be in a dilemma of, well, I mean, what's the criteria? What are the other names going to be? Is he about to say a bunch of backups and so I want to put Mahomes at number 1 or is he about to say like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning where I might want to put Mahomes at 2 or 3? Like
Right.
it's heavily mental trying to do gymnastics. Now, one rule because one kind of awkward situation that you get towards the end of these blind ranking type challenges is if you get to the very end, the last name, and the person giving the names save like the best for last, then you're just kind of in an awkward situation where it's not particularly entertaining. It's not a great payoff. You're just like, oh well, yeah, okay. Why didn't I think of them being a consideration? And then you have like the last spot or the second to last spot is your only spot left open. So we have a rule where at any given point, you can make a swap. Say you're on the last name, and you have like 1, 2, 3, and 5 all filled out, and so they're like, in actuality, they're like the second best
Yeah.
option if you had known all of the options beforehand,
Yeah.
but now you're forced to put them at 4. In order to keep things a little more interesting, we're allowing one swap where you can take the current name on offer and put them in any occupied space, but then the person who was originally in that space has to go and take the only free spot now.
Mm-hmm. Fair
So
enough.
the rule will be probably more I guess easily understood after we get through a couple of these. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 different categories to get through. So the first one is just NFL quarterbacks.
No. Boy.
I
Okay.
won't tell it will become apparent, but I won't tell you at first whether they are current or all time.
Okay.
So take it as you will. The
Okay.
first name is, and there are going to be 5 for each of these categories. There are 5 names, so
Okay.
rank them out of 5. The first name is Joe Flacco.
5.
Okay, I'm just I'm rating them
Yeah.
as we go along here.
Flacco
There you
won
go.
a Super Bowl, but
He did.
mostly it was the defense.
Okay, next up is Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Uh, I'm gonna go 3 with him.
Okay.
He had moments.
All
A lot
right.
of teams signed him.
Yeah. Long time journey, man.
Sure.
Next up is Bart Starr.
Well, I'm gonna surprise you with this one.
Okay.
Bart Starr won the first 2 Super Bowls. He's a Packers legend, but athletically, he would not fit in today's game. So I'm going to put Bart Starr at 4.
Okay. I don't hate the logic here.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is the old classic, oh, played against plumbers
right.
debate. So fair enough. So just to recap, so far we have Joe Flacco at 5, Ryan Fitzpatrick at 3, Bart Starr at 4. So
Yep,
these final 2 quarterbacks could very well fill the top 2 spots.
yep.
Your fourth name is Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts. Okay.
You could swap him if you wanted to, or you could put him in the top 2.
I'm going to put him at 2. He's won a Super Bowl. He's a modern athlete with modern training, and he's really, really strong.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a real strong base, obviously. I mean, the tush push and all
Mm,
that is based upon the fact that he squats 700 pounds or some crazy number like that.
yeah.
So, yeah, I think I'd put him at 2 and be pretty comfortable there.
Okay. I don't hate the rating. Your final name, which you could put at number 1, or you could swap him out for somebody else and put somebody else at number 1, is Drew Bledsoe.
Huh. You know what? I think I'm going to stick with I'm going to slot him into number 1. He was
Okay.
he was a number 1 pick. He was playing at an MVP level before he got hurt and replaced by Tom Brady. He was one of those generational type quarterbacks that injuries kind of played a role. He was definitely Super Bowl capable, worthy,
Okay.
and
He
and
did make a Super Bowl earlier in his
well,
career and lost to
yeah,
Brett Favre. So
right,
yeah.
yeah. I think that's that one wasn't that hard. I didn't have to use the swap.
Okay. So we've got Drew Bledsoe, Jalen Hurts, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Bart Starr, and Joe Flacco. Interesting.
Yeah.
I think if it were my ranking, I don't actually hate that ranking. I'd probably put Star a bit higher, maybe 2, and then I would probably put Ryan Fitzpatrick last.
Hmm.
But I don't hate it. That's not bad for a
Yeah.
blind ranking. Next up, we've got NFL running backs.
Okay.
So this is only taking into account their NFL career, nothing they did in college.
Right.
First up is Giovanni Bernard, the old Bengals running back from the 2010s.
Boy, I barely remember him. 5.
Mm-hmm. 5? All right. Okay. Next up is Ricky Williams, and this is why I said only what they did in the NFL.
Yeah, Ricky ran for over 10,000 yards and I think he led the league in rushing a couple of times. The problem is, I don't know who else is coming up,
Exactly.
and I didn't get to see Ricky play much because in the NFL, obviously saw a lot of him when he was at the University of Texas, but so I'm gonna put Ricky at number 2.
Okay. Okay. Next up, we have another 2010s Packers running back, Eddie Lacy.
Eddie Lacy is 4. He was good for a couple seasons, and then once he got the big paychecks, he spent it all on food, and he got fat and slow.
Yep, that's fair. I think
Yep.
that's a good ranking so far. Next up, Darren McFadden, staying with the 2010s names.
Yeah, McFadden was a college legend who was pretty good in the NFL, but he wasn't as good as Ricky Williams, so I'm going to slide him in at number 3.
All right. And your final name that you could either put at number 1 or swap with somebody else is Damian Williams. Won the Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Damian Williams. Oh
He was
boy.
on that first Mahomes Super Bowl squad.
Yeah. So the question is, do I swap him with Ricky Williams and put Ricky at the top? But then that means Damian Williams is number two, and I don't think he's really a number two. But I'm not putting any of those other guys ahead of Ricky. So I'm swapping him with Ricky, and Ricky goes to one, and Damian Williams and his forgotten Super Bowl performance will go to number two.
I don't
Uh,
know. I don't know if I'd say forgotten. Some people say he should have won that Super Bowl MVP over Mahomes.
yeah, it that was Mahomes' Super Bowl though because he was the
Yeah,
star.
yeah.
So
All right,
all
so
right,
we've got Ricky Williams, Damian Williams, Darren McFadden, Eddie Lacy, and Giovanni Bernard.
yeah, I
Pretty happy with
if
that?
I had two moves, I'd put McFadden ahead of Damian Williams, but I don't have two
Yeah,
moves. So
that's
yeah,
fair.
yeah.
All right, next up, we've got all-time NFL wide receivers. These are all going to be legends, so just keep that in mind. Starting off with
Okay.
a little-known name, Jerry Rice.
Uh, I think Jerry Rice is number two.
Okay.
And I've always said that because there's a name that, whether you say it or not, that I think should be ranked higher.
I know who you're talking about. Let's see if we have him on our list. Next up is Steve Largent.
Um, there's no shame in being number five. Largent was a gym rat type of a guy. He made
Mm-hmm.
spectacular catches, but he didn't have great speed or size or anything else. He was just very reliable and really good guy. I mean, I actually lived up in the Seattle area back when he was starting out as a star, and so I like the guy, but he doesn't match up physically with probably some of the other names.
Think you may be right. Next up, we've got Andre Reed.
Andre Reed went to four straight Super Bowls and lost, and really did not. I think he one of those Super Bowls. I remember he had a pretty good game. I mean, respect to him. He's probably a Hall of Famer, and deservedly so. But there's just not a moment I could pull out of my Andre Reed memory and go, "This is when this dude took over the game." So
Yeah.
uh, he made four Super Bowls and Steve Largent didn't. So I'm going to slide him in at number four.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Next up, another Super Bowl losing wide receiver in Larry Fitzgerald.
Boy. Well, he did. Fitzgerald was great in his time and had there are some moments, some Larry Fitzgerald moments I can remember. So I'm going to take a chance here and put him at number three.
Okay. And your final name, keeping with the Super Bowl losers, Julio Jones. See, I was throwing you off because Randy Moss
Yeah,
also lost the Super Bowl.
yeah, I know. You knew I was hoping you were going to say Randy Moss because
Mm-hmm.
he was the best receiver I ever saw.
I
So
agree.
I'm basically choosing between, do I put Julio Jones at number one or do I swap him and Jerry Rice, who has all the records? And
Mm-hmm.
you know, I just was never blown away by Jerry Rice. I He's got all the numbers and he's got all the stuff, but I saw too many games that he didn't have an impact. He tended to be either really really hot or pretty cold.
Okay.
And whenever my Cowboys played him, Michael Irvin outplayed him. I think pretty much every game that they ever faced each other. And so it's okay for Jerry Rice to be number two. I'd pick Julio Jones. He was a physical freak.
I think Julio Jones definitely has one of the best modern day wide receiver highlight reels.
Yeah,
So I don't hate that. So we've got Julio Jones at one, followed by Jerry Rice, Larry Fitzgerald, Andre Reed, and Steve Largent.
and they're all great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was kind of the point with that category. Next up, we've got just NFL teams.
Okay.
Now, I want you to rank these not based off of how good they are,
Okay.
but how much you like them.
Okay.
Like how much would you be willing to root for them over one another?
Got it.
So we're starting off with the New Orleans Saints.
And we're talking about modern day or ever.
It can be all time. Any criteria. This is just how
They
much
were
do
they
you
were
like the team?
yeah, they were easier to root for when Drew Brees was there because I was
Of
a
course.
Drew Brees fan. Um, Before and after Drew Brees,
Hmm.
uh, I'm gonna put him at 4.
Okay. Next up, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I mean, Trevor Lawrence is interesting to watch, but they're sliding in at 5 right at the moment.
All right. Next up, our reigning Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks.
So, I mean, I said I lived up in the Seattle area.
Mm-hmm.
There have been times when I have rooted for them. The Legion of Boom was fun,
Yeah.
and so I'm going to tentatively put them at number 2.
Okay. Fair. Still safe. Next up, you're gonna like this one, the Washington Redskins.
You know what? I'm going to slide them in at 3 just because there
Really?
have actually been times when I had respect for the Redskins. They had
Okay.
good Super Bowl winning teams and actually good guys on the team, even though they were the Cowboys' arch rivals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, throughout the 70s. Yeah. Now it's the
yeah,
Eagles. But
right.
and your final team to either be number one or swap with somebody else is the Miami Dolphins.
Um, and I put Seattle at number 2, so
You did.
it's a question really of if the Dolphins were playing the Seahawks, who would I root for? And that so much depends upon the year. The Dan Marino Dolphins were great.
Mhm.
Um, all the rest of the Dolphin teams that I can think of, uh, yeah, I think I'm going to have to do the swap. I'm going to have to move Seattle up to number 1 and put the Dolphins in at number 2.
All right. So we've got the Seattle Seahawks, Miami Dolphins, Washington Redskins, New Orleans Saints, and Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah.
All right, and our final category, no, we actually had two more. Apologies. Our next category is MVP seasons. So it is only taking into account that one season mentioned in which this player won MVP.
All right.
So starting off with our reigning MVP 2025, Matthew Stafford.
Uh, I mean 3, I guess.
Okay. Fair. That's respectable. Pretty safe answer. Next up, we've got 2021 Aaron Rodgers. I believe this was the year I would have given it to Tom Brady if I was a
Well,
voter.
I mean, I'm taking Aaron Rodgers over Matthew Stafford for his body of work. So he goes in at 2.
Number two. All right.
Yep.
Taking it back to a little bit of a throwback, at least for someone my age. 2006 LaDainian Tomlinson
Hmm.
broke the
I wish.
record for most total touchdowns in a season.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I would have saved number 3 for him, but
Could always swap.
I'm not. Nah, because I don't know what's coming up. I'm going to put him at 4. He didn't win a Super Bowl that year. He scored a lot of touchdowns, but they didn't even make the Super Bowl.
Neither did Stafford or Rodgers.
I realize that,
Next up,
but
1993.
he never won a Super Bowl though.
That's true. Well,
Yeah,
here's someone who did win a Super Bowl. I'm going to give you the year. I want you to tell me if you know who this is before I say the name. 1993.
was it Steve Young,
No,
running back or quarterback?
running back.
1993.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I mean Barry Sanders.
This is Emmett Smith.
Oh, 90. Yeah, of course.
Mm.
All right. All right. I mean, you threw out a Cowboy who won MVP and Super Bowl. He's going to the top, and nobody's bumping that. on my
Really?
list.
Because
Yep.
I think you might want to reconsider because you are threatening to put 1984 Dan Marino, arguably the single greatest when you adjust for era, single greatest quarterback season of all time. You're threatening to put that at number 5.
I got no problem with it.
Really?
Yep.
I am extremely surprised.
I got no problem with it because Emmett Emmett has to be number one because he missed the first 2 games of the season
Yeah.
on a contract holdout. The Cowboys went 0-2, and they were defending champions. And he came back and not only led them to a Super Bowl win, but he won the MVP, won the rushing title, and got them home field advantage in the playoffs in that New York Giants game where he
Okay.
separated his shoulder and won the game in overtime with a separated shoulder. I mean, sorry, that's
I mean, I'll tell you right now, I would put Marino at 1, but I'm surprised you're not even considering swapping him for a different position. You're telling me you're
oh,
happy
I
with
can
Dan
wait.
Marino at 5.
Okay. Oh, okay. So if I put,
You can put him. You can put him at any
I
of
can
them,
put him
but
in at
that
5, and
one
then
you're
I
replacing.
can do a swap. All
Yeah, you
right,
can do a swap.
all right. And
It doesn't
so,
have to be for number 1.
uh, all right. Well, this makes sense then. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me the order currently.
So right now you have Emmett Smith, 1993 Emmett Smith at number 1,
Yeah.
2021 Aaron Rodgers at 2, 2025 Matthew Stafford at 3, and 2006 LaDainian Tomlinson at 4.
I'd swap him with Matthew Stafford.
Okay, so you're putting 84 Marino at 3 and
Yeah.
2025 Matthew Stafford at 5.
Sure.
All right. Moving on to our last category. This is University of Texas quarterbacks, only taking into account what they did in college.
Okay.
Starting off with our current guy, Arch Manning.
Well, you know, he just he hasn't done it yet. He's shown flashes. He's a
Yeah.
great kid, but I'm gonna start him off at 5.
Okay. Interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
I think you may be about to possibly make a switch.
Okay.
Either, I don't know. Well, I won't spoil it. Next up, we've got Major Applewhite.
Yeah, Major. Everybody loved him. He was a winner. We talked about that winner gene, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
mean winning national championships, but man, he was so much fun. Some players just I don't know. They hit different. You find yourself going, I love this dude. I love watching him play. Um, unfortunately, his career was kind of cut short because they recruited Chris Sims, and there was pressure. He was the number one quarterback in the nation coming out of high school, and son of Phil Sims, Giants Super Bowl quarterback. And so, with all the love in the world to Major Applewhite, I'm going to put him at 4.
All right, then. Next up, we've got Colt McCoy.
Yeah, I mean, Colt should have won a national championship,
Mm-hmm.
and he's the shoulda coulda kid, but he did an awful lot when he was there, and I think he may have thrown for more yards than anybody else in UT history. I think he's got that record. So um, I'm going to put him for now at number 2, just because there's one name that would stand above that. And
Okay.
if you don't name that other name, then I'll swap Colt for number 1.
All right, then. Let's see if this is the name you're looking for. David Ash.
No, David Ash is sad. Um, he could have been, a B plus to A minus. And I actually knew some people who knew him and said, "Great guy, fantastic guy." He just kept getting concussions and wound up having to, step away from the game. And it sucks that David Ash has to go in front of Major Applewhite because
You do have your
major.
swap. You
Yeah,
don't have to.
well, I'm going to slide him in at number 3 at the moment, and then we'll see which I
Interesting.
would I
Okay.
swap. Yeah,
Well, this time we did save the best for last. So Vince Young.
clearly. Um, he's got to be
Okay.
number 1. He's
Mm-hmm.
got the championship and the greatest single college football game by any quarterback. But so we slide Vince at number 1, and now I can take David Ash.
No,
And
you no. Remember the swap
oh,
only
it
applies
has to
to
be a
the
current swap.
current name on offer. So yeah, you
Yeah,
forewent your opportunity to swap Arch and David Ash.
yeah. I'm still not sure that I would. Yeah, if I would have known all 5 beforehand, it would have gone Vince, Colt, Applewhite, because he was Southwest Conference Player of the Year, um,
Okay.
and had some awards and won a Cotton Bowl or two, which was the big game that they didn't have the tournament back then.
Yeah.
Uh, Ash would have to be at the back, and
Okay.
we'll ask me again next year and see what Arch Manning was able to do. I thought sure you were going to go with Arch's predecessor
I
and
almost
with
did, but I mean
Quinn Ewers.
I almost did, but I didn't want to make it too predictable and just throw out all the like recent big names and such.
Yeah, because I mean Quinn Ewers would easily slide in there behind Colt McCoy. He
Of
got them
course.
to the Final Four twice,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, I agree. But
when he was
unfortunately,
healthy,
someone had to be left off, and so
sure.
Quinn got the chopping block. I also didn't mention Sam Ellinger. So
Yeah, I know, and Ellinger probably goes in there behind Quinn Ewers uh,
okay,
at
some
number
might even
4.
say he goes above Quinn, but either or.
I don't think he won as much as Quinn did. So,
It's fair.
but yeah, he didn't have
Yeah.
the arm. I mean, hey, both of them are getting NFL checks, so good for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know.
That
So,
is very true.
all right. Well,
Well, do
cool.
you,
I like the game.
mhm. Are you able to come up with a real quick five or
No,
no?
we're
All right.
overtime. We're overtime for tonight, but I'll
Yeah.
I'll see about working on it for next week.
Cool. Yeah, we'll come back and probably do more of this.
Yeah.
But all right. Well, thank you all for tuning in to another week inside the helmet. Come back next week. We'll have some more stuff to talk about. But for now, good night, everybody.
God bless.